Europe is facing a crisis, and it's not just economic or political, it's demographic. Entire countries are shrinking faster than you can imagine. If you thought Europe's biggest problem was Brexit or economic instability, think again. These 12 countries are quite literally disappearing off the map, and the reasons might shock you. Stay tuned, because the truth is more alarming than you could ever have imagined. Welcome back to our channel, where we dive deep into the most pressing global issues that no one else is talking about. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon so you never miss out on our eye-opening content. Today, we're uncovering a crisis that's silently sweeping across Europe, the shocking decline of entire nations. So, let's jump right into it. Europe, known for its rich history, cultural diversity, and economic powerhouses, is now grappling with a hidden threat: population decline. While the continent has faced numerous challenges over the centuries, this one is existential. The combination of low birth rates, aging populations, and mass emigration is pushing several countries toward an irreversible demographic collapse. These trends are not just statistics. They are the harbingers of a future where entire cultures, economies, and nations could cease to exist as we know them. But why is this happening? The reasons are multifaceted, ranging from economic hardship and lack of opportunities to cultural shifts and political instability. In some countries, the youth are fleeing in search of better prospects, leaving behind an aging population that can no longer sustain itself. In others, the societal structure has changed so drastically that people are simply choosing not to have children. This demographic time bomb is ticking faster than anyone anticipated, and the consequences are dire. Here are the 12 countries. 1. Bulgaria. Bulgaria is a country rich in history and culture, but beneath the beauty of its ancient cities and stunning landscapes lies a demographic catastrophe. The population has been in a steady decline since the fall of communism in 1989, driven by a combination of low birth rates, high mortality rates, and massive emigration. Young Bulgarians, in particular, are leaving in droves, seeking better economic opportunities in Western Europe. The result is an aging population left behind, with villages and towns across the country becoming ghost towns. By 2050, Bulgaria could lose nearly a quarter of its population, making it one of the fastest shrinking nations in Europe. This decline threatens not only the country's economy but also its cultural and social fabric, as entire communities disappear and traditions are lost to the sands of time. 2. Latvia. Latvia, a small Baltic nation with a rich cultural heritage, is facing an existential threat. Since gaining independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, Latvia has seen a significant portion of its population emigrate, primarily to other EU countries. The reasons for this exodus are varied: economic hardship, a lack of job opportunities, and better prospects abroad. This mass emigration has led to a population decline of nearly 30% over the past few decades. What's even more alarming is that those leaving are predominantly young and educated, further exacerbating the country's demographic crisis. As Latvia's population continues to shrink, the country faces the daunting challenge of sustaining its economy and preserving its national identity in the face of this dramatic demographic shift. 3. Lithuania. Lithuania, another Baltic state, is grappling with one of the highest rates of population decline in the European Union. The country's population has been decreasing steadily since the early 1990s, with a significant portion of Lithuanians seeking better opportunities abroad. The causes of this decline are multifaceted. Economic migration, a low birth rate, and an aging population all play a role. What's particularly troubling is that Lithuania's rural areas are being hit the hardest, with small towns and villages facing depopulation on a massive scale. This trend is not only eroding the country's labor force but also leading to the closure of schools, businesses, and even hospitals in these areas. If this trend continues, Lithuania could lose a fifth of its population by mid-century, posing a serious threat to its economic viability and cultural continuity. 4. Croatia. Croatia's idyllic Adriatic coastline and historic cities like Dubrovnik might paint a picture of a thriving nation, but behind the scenes, the country is facing a demographic emergency. Since the 1990s, Croatia has experienced a steady population decline, exacerbated by the aftermath of the Yugoslav wars and ongoing economic challenges. Many young Croatians have left the country in search of better job prospects in Western Europe, leaving behind an aging population with few resources to sustain the future. The birth rate in Croatia is among the lowest in the EU, and the population is projected to shrink by nearly 15% by 2050. This demographic shift is particularly acute in rural areas, where entire villages are being abandoned. The loss of human capital is not only threatening Croatia's economic future but also its ability to maintain its cultural heritage and social cohesion. 5. Romania. Romania, with its stunning Carpathian mountains and rich cultural traditions, is quietly undergoing a demographic decline that could have far-reaching consequences. Since the fall of communism, Romania has seen a massive exodus of its citizens, with millions emigrating to Western Europe in search of better opportunities. This brain drain has left the country with a rapidly aging population and a birth rate that's among the lowest in Europe. The result is a shrinking workforce, declining economic growth, and a growing strain on the country's social services. Romania's rural areas are particularly hard hit, with many villages facing depopulation as young people leave for cities or other countries. If current trends continue, Romania's population could decrease by over 30% by the end of the century, making it one of the fastest shrinking countries in Europe. Enjoying the content? Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more valuable insights right to your feed. Join our community today. 6. Serbia. Serbia, a country with a complex and turbulent history, is now facing a new kind of challenge: a dramatic population decline. Decades of political instability, economic hardship, and the lingering effects of the Yugoslav wars have all contributed to this crisis. The birth rate in Serbia is well below the replacement level, and emigration continues to drain the country of its youth and talent. Many Serbians are leaving for better opportunities in the European Union, leaving behind an aging population that is struggling to sustain itself. This demographic shift is particularly evident in rural areas, where entire communities are disappearing. By 2050, Serbia's population could decrease by as much as 15%, threatening the country's economic future and its ability to maintain its cultural and social institutions. 7. Hungary. Hungary, a country known for its rich history and vibrant culture, is facing a demographic decline that could have serious long-term consequences. Despite government efforts to boost the birth rate through generous family policies, the population continues to shrink. The reasons are complex. An aging population, low fertility rates, and emigration are all contributing factors. Many young Hungarians are leaving the country for better job opportunities in Western Europe, while those who stay behind are having fewer children. This has led to a rapidly aging population, with significant implications for the country's economy and social services. If current trends continue, Hungary could see a population decline of nearly 10% by 2050, raising concerns about the country's future sustainability. 8. Greece. Greece, a country with a legacy that has shaped Western civilization, is now facing a demographic crisis that threatens its future. The economic turmoil of the last decade, marked by severe austerity measures and high unemployment, has led to a significant brain drain, with many young Greeks leaving the country in search of better opportunities. At the same time, the birth rate in Greece has plummeted, leading to an aging population that is unable to support the country's economic recovery. The combination of these factors has resulted in a population decline that could see Greece's population shrink by nearly 20% by the middle of the century. This decline is not only a threat to the country's economy but also to its cultural identity, as entire communities face depopulation and the loss of cultural traditions. 9. Portugal. Portugal, with its picturesque landscapes and rich maritime history, is quietly facing a demographic challenge that could reshape the country's future. The population has been in decline for several years, driven by low birth rates and high levels of emigration. Many young Portuguese have left the country in search of better job opportunities, particularly in other EU countries, leaving behind an aging population that is struggling to sustain itself. This demographic shift is particularly pronounced in rural areas, where depopulation is leading to the closure of schools, businesses, and other essential services. If current trends continue, Portugal's population could decrease by nearly 20% by 2050, raising concerns about the country's economic sustainability and its ability to maintain its cultural heritage. 10. Poland, a country that has experienced significant economic growth in recent years, is paradoxically facing a demographic decline that could undermine its future prosperity. The population is shrinking due to a combination of low birth rates and high emigration, particularly among the younger generation. Many Poles have moved to Western Europe in search of better opportunities, leaving behind an aging population that is placing increasing pressure on the country's social services. The government has introduced various measures to encourage higher birth rates, but so far, these efforts have had limited success. If current trends continue, Poland's population could decrease by nearly 15% by mid-century, raising serious concerns about the country's ability to sustain its economic growth and social stability. 11. Italy, a country renowned for its art, culture, and cuisine, is now facing a demographic decline that could have profound implications for its future. The birth rate in Italy is among the lowest in the world, and the population is aging rapidly. At the same time, many young Italians are leaving the country in search of better opportunities abroad, leading to a significant brain drain. This combination of factors is driving a population decline that could see Italy's population shrink by millions over the next few decades. The impact of this decline is already being felt in the country's economy, with a shrinking workforce and increasing pressure on social services. If current trends continue, Italy's population could decrease by nearly 20% by the end of the century, raising concerns about the country's long-term sustainability. 12. Ukraine, a country that has been ravaged by conflict and political instability, is facing a demographic crisis that could have devastating consequences. The population has been in decline for several years, driven by a combination of low birth rates, high mortality rates, and massive emigration. The ongoing conflict in the eastern part of the country has only exacerbated these trends, leading to a significant loss of life and the displacement of millions of people. As a result, Ukraine's population is shrinking at one of the fastest rates in Europe. By 2050, the country's population could decrease by nearly 30%, raising serious concerns about its ability to rebuild and sustain itself in the face of these challenges. These countries are facing a future that few could have predicted, a future where their populations could shrink to levels that threaten their very existence. The consequences of this decline are profound, impacting everything from the economy to national identity. If you found this video alarming, make sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with others who need to know the truth. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more in-depth looks at the issues shaping our world. What do you think is the solution to this crisis? Let us know in the comments below.